Mrs. Mary Robinson, thank you very much. I'd like to sincerely welcome you for talking to us today and for joining me here to talk about energy poverty and the importance of climate justice for all. I will say this is an absolute personal highlight for me in my career, Mary. You've been extremely inspirational to me throughout my career. You're genuinely one of my heroes, so I'm very, very, very happy that you have taken the time to talk to us today. As a female working in a predominantly male sector of engineering, having strong female role models has been critical to me, and seeing women like yourself reach the top of the ladder, so to speak, spurs me on and many others like me to work hard, to do my best and make an impact on society for the better. We're living in times where the actions we take and the words we say do make a real impact and influence people. So it's all the more important that we have strong leadership to guide us in the right direction. So I'd like to start by asking you to tell us why you founded the Climate Justice Foundation in 2010 and what motivated you to establish it, and how has the climate justice landscape evolved since then?
Well, I was very conscious in 2010, because of my work in Africa, of the injustice, of the many injustices of the climate and nature crisis. First of all, it affected the poorest countries and poorest communities and small island states and indigenous peoples earlier and more severely. Secondly, there was a great gender dimension in that. Women weren't at the table of decision making. They didn't have access to credit. They often didn't have land rights. And yet they were the ones trying to make their communities resilient, and they weren't getting the climate finance. Thirdly, the intergenerational injustice. And luckily, the school children, their Fridays for Future, were alerting us to that. And also an injustice, which I think more and more about now, the injustice of the different regional pathways to development of different regions in the world. So Ireland and other industrialized countries, we built our economies on fossil fuel. As you know, European countries, the United States, Japan, Korea. So our task is to wean ourselves off as rapidly as possible with just transition for workers and communities. But think of other regions which have found oil and gas, and now we're saying, oh, you can't use it, we've used up the budget. So that's another injustice. And finally, the injustice to nature herself, the extinction of species, what we're doing. And of course, we are nature, so we're doing it to ourselves. And we must increasingly think of it in that way and stop and realize we won't solve the climate problem until we also solve the nature problem. And I became very aware of energy poverty as part of that. So I am really delighted that you have an EU peers association looking at energy poverty. I'm very enthusiastic about it and hope you grow your numbers and have even more success than you've had in the last 3 years. I particularly work with Project Dandelion. This dandelion that I wear is our symbol of women leaders on climate justice now, because climate justice has become mainstream. When I started the foundation, it was very much a minority issue, very much. But we worked on principles that a few organizations that were using climate justice could agree on. Now, I'm happy to say it really is in the mainstream. And I work with communities, with other women leaders, communities like Sewa in India, the Self-Employed Women's Association, and others in Africa. And they are incredible at getting solar energy and greening villages and things. So when I see what they can do, I do think that European countries at community level and through one-stop shops for energy could do far more. So I'll wait for more questions now, but you can tell I'm enthusiastic about your work.
That's great. Absolutely, exactly. It seems to be very much linked to your knowledge and experience. In relation to the conference today, and as you mentioned, we have attendees from both our European partners and here our national stakeholders here in Ireland. Home energy renovation is increasingly recognised as a climate justice issue. With approximately 10% of homes across Europe, there's around 40 million people across Europe living in what we call energy poverty. What do you think are the key areas to consider in ensuring that we leave no one behind in terms of the energy transition?
Well, one of them is something I think you're very focused on, the one-stop shop, bringing together the possibilities of really helping households to get clean energy to retrofit their home. That's very expensive in Ireland at the moment. But I actually honestly also think communities can work more together. Maybe credit unions with communities or other ways in which you can purchase for a group, which is much cheaper than purchasing for an individual. I'm not an expert on this, but having seen what communities are doing that are much, much poorer than the European communities when we talk about energy poverty, they're on the, they're absolutely on the baseline, and yet they are the ones in Pakistan. And the solar energy bottom up has changed the country. In India, we're seeing the same thing. We're taking it now from India to Africa. We're working with SEWA on projects where we bring it to Ethiopian women, to women in Kenya. I'll be there shortly, later this month, talking about that. So, let's look at what communities can do together with those who have a technical capacity and expand access. And let's have government stop subsidizing so much what is harming us. I think ministers of finance have a responsibility now to look at how we move more rapidly into clean energy, starting with tackling energy poverty, and doing it in a policy-directed way, not giving subsidies across the field to meet with higher fuel prices. That's not the way to go.
Yes, and exactly. And part of the EU peers community is exactly that. It's about bringing all the stakeholders together. So you mentioned the finance, the technical expertise, but the communities, and about building it up from regional and local, so that we don't have I'm going to say large, let's say commercial companies, but bringing it from the bottom up at a local and regional level, we find is absolutely critical. Just in terms of, and again, thank you so much for your time. Is there what would your lasting message be to the participants today, please?
I think it'd be good to link this, and I'm not sure how, but you're the experts, link this with the need for more local food production. It's happening a lot, but I think it too will benefit from access to clean energy, access to energy, solar energy in fields with cows or sheep. It works, and we need more of it. So think of the farming communities as well, the local farming communities for local to tackle energy issues. We're working in Project Dandelion very much with local food production here in Ireland, food sovereignty as we call it. I'm very impressed with the groups, because apart from the fact that they work on food production and on natural issues, if you like, nature, they also often work socially, work with migrants, work with schools, work with school meals. And I think, that adds another dimension, which I'd very much encourage you with your peer group in European countries to focus on, and of course, in particular here in Ireland.
Thank you so much for your time today and for your message. Yes, no, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time, Mary.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
All the
all the
best.
best with the conference, okay?
Thank you.